it's Losi from Losi, and welcome to All Things Events, where you learn all the tips and tricks on how to be in an events industry. Welcome guys, welcome back to another video. In today's video, it is very different. It is our new series, Events With, and I am sitting with a lovely lady, Zama, that I met kwindawo eshushu that is called Ep1. I think that's where I met you. So I've got Zama today. And who is Zama? I want you to introduce yourself, obviously, to my subscribers before we start jumping into the whole events industry, information, tips and tricks, and everything, guys.
Okay. Hi guys, my name is Zama, Zamantungwa Nyaose. I'm actually a wedding planner. I went to school for it. I'm a qualified wedding planner, and I also do coordination and flowers and decor.
Why wedding planning? Why events in general? Why events? Because I feel like a person can be a wedding planner, but you don't limit yourself from just doing weddings. Yes. You also do birthday celebrations, launches, corporate events and stuff. Yes. Why events?
Okay, so growing up, my aunt used to do decor for weddings, and she also used to do catering for weddings. So when I was in high school, on my weekends, I used to help her. And I really enjoyed it, but I never thought about it as something that I could do for myself. So what happened then was I went and I studied banking. I worked at a couple of banks, wasn't happy.
Yes.
I worked at other companies, and I still wasn't happy until my aunt,
same aunt?
Not the same aunt,
okay.
A different aunt, the youngest of my dad's sisters.
Okay.
Yeah, she asked me, have you ever considered maybe studying wedding planning? There's a school called SA School of Weddings, you should try it. So I was like, okay. Then I went and I researched it, and I saved up for it. I quit my job and
went. And
this is where, yes, and I went and I studied it. I enjoyed it very much, and now this is what I do full time, and I love it.
You know, it's so interesting that you went to study events, because I feel like I'm sitting here and I'm sitting with all the experience and the tips and tricks that I got from obviously working in different events, different cities, different clients and stuff like that. But I did not necessarily went to study events, but there's so much information that I have, and I felt like, you know what, it would be so nice and so informative for me to bring you to basically just give me things that you felt like if you did not go to school and study in the industry, you will have obviously like a challenge with.
Yes.
So what are those things that you feel like education is very important, especially in our industry, or even if you do not go to school? Because I feel like it's one thing, education does not mean necessarily school.
Yeah.
You know, it can be learning on the job, or just upskilling yourself with master classes and skills share courses and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so for instance, for me, going to school, I learned a lot of the legal stuff.
Okay.
So for instance, there are certain policies and procedures that need to be followed. So for instance, if I hadn't gone to school, I wouldn't have known Uguti. Just putting up a tent is not right.
Tell me about it.
You can't just decide Uguti uyavala estrada. You need to have a permit. There's people who need to come through. The inspections need to be done. There's quite a lot of processes that we as wedding planners or people who do events in general, they cut corners.
True.
Not necessarily because they are planning on cutting corners, but because they don't have the knowledge.
Information.
And unfortunately, a lot of the places where streets are closed and stuff like that, they are lucky that we don't have strict enforcing laws on those in those places. However, should someone come,
what happens?
should someone come?
With exactly what you're saying, I remember doing an event for a client and police came.
Yeah.
They did not just want one thing. They firstly wanted, I think, noise certificate. What do you call it? A noise noise control certificate. They wanted what is this? They wanted a certificate for the tent, for the marquee.
Yes, that it's safe.
Also, we did not have a liquor license to do that event.
Yes.
And it's something that I think, even with me, if I knew before I can take a role as a coordinator or as a day manager for the event, I would obviously ask my clients and be like, okay, before I can manage your event, do you have this? Do you have this? Do you have this? And when that came, I was just like, okay, where's the boss? Do you get what I mean? Because at the end of the day, I'm just a middleman, or I'm just a person that is basically
just coordinating on
coordinating on the
day.
You
weren't there with the whole planning process.
Structure. I don't even know where the tent comes from and stuff like that. So I think that's very important. And obviously, I do get people asking me about wedding schools. Where can they study? Is it really necessary to study a wedding course?
So for me personally, I generally like to know what I'm doing.
Okay.
So the reason why I went to school for it was because, yes, I've done events. Yes, it's easy to just decide that, hey, it's easy to put together an event. However, I wanted to know the extra knowledge. Like, I needed to know everything so that I know when I'm doing things, I'm doing them right. I'm not just putting things together, because a lot of events are just like cut and paste.
You know,
guys. Wow.
And you know why I'm agreeing to what you're saying is because a lot of people think doing deco, you are an event planner. They think when you are a deco person, you're an event planner. The minute you can put up a stage, or you're an event planner. Even the people that can get people for the events, or you know, have a crowd and stuff like that, they think, oh, I can do events, it's just me calling this, it's just me.
It's not,
of which it's so different for all of us in the industry, because I always say this to people. They'll be like, okay, Losi, I want to get into events, and I'm like, okay, what do you want to do at events? Yeah, I can do catering, I can do deco, I can do, and I'm like, whoa. Whoa. First of all, the industry is so broad.
Very.
You need to sort of like specialize in something.
Find your niche and work within that niche.
What do you think about that?
I think it's actually very important for you to find your niche and work within it, because there are so many different things, and there's so many different aspects to what we do, that if you decide that, okay, I'm going to do the flowers, the catering, the this, the that, the that, the that, the that, at the end of the day, you're going to realize there's only one of you. Even if you've got a team, you're the one who is in charge.
Of course.
There's only one of you, and you won't be able to manage it properly. Because even with catering, guys, people think catering is easy. I had catering as one of my, because at our school they basically we do everything that is part of events.
Oh, nice.
So we had catering as one of the modules. In the beginning, because I love cooking, I was like, maybe I'm going to be specialized in catering as well, until I realized the kitchen. Hot it is in the kitchen. Hot. And I was like, no ways, I refuse. You know, the technicalities with just the food is a lot.
No, I can.
And the thing is, that's when you realize, Uguti, like all these little events that we've been doing, or like, you know, when Abu Auntie decide Uguti, they're going to cook, how many things they do wrong.
True.
And with food, it's such a sensitive thing, because hygiene is very important. People getting sick.
It's very true.
Like, people get food poisoning from the most weird things. And the thing is, it's not because the person is a bad cook.
With food poisoning, I used to laugh at people that I used to work with, because they used to complain, oh my God, I had food poisoning. I can't come to work. And I was like, what is this food poisoning? And I thought it was like a sickness for, you know, other races and stuff like that. Zama, I had food poisoning. It was obviously not from an event, but it was from food that I had. And I did not understand how sensitive food is
Extremely.
until that day. I think I almost went to hospital. My stomach was bloated. It was like this big. I was just like, oh my God, what am I gonna do?
It's a lot.
So food, especially like at events, if I go to an event and I'm like, hey, hygiene here is not 100%, I am fine.
And you know what the thing that people don't know is that if you get food poisoning at an event, you can sue the catering company.
Tips and tricks.
That is why I chose not to go into. You can sue the company because there are standards. So, for instance, it's simple things. For instance, fish is not supposed to be out for longer than 3 hours. How many events have you been to where you have seen the fish sit there from the first speech until the last speech, and then people go eat, and that is like 5 hours later? It's things like those. You don't like, it's really, and things like food poisoning can come from anything. So for instance, you can get food poisoning from chicken that's been defrosted too many times.
Okay, I think I need to just learn about food, just not even for events, just for my house.
Yes, because yeah, and I think that's the reason why for me I found going to school valuable, because they taught us everything. So even if you are not the one who's in charge of it, but as soon as you can see that your caterer is not doing the right things, you can go and say, hey, listen.
But then what happens when you start telling
not
your suppliers or just people that you're working around with? I mean, for instance, I would say I coordinate most of the events, or even when I'm called for my team, I get to see things, and if I feel like I want to coordinate, I would. But if I don't, obviously depending on the type of client that I'm working with, I've had issues whereby I try and tell people like, whoa, what we are not doing is not necessarily, or this is not how it's done. And I feel like if they were not called by me, because usually say a client would call me and I get to an event, you are there, maybe you're doing stage or something like that, and then I'm trying to tell you about the cables that are just, you know,
but
exactly,
it's a hazard.
But how do you then communicate that with the people, with other suppliers, without having to feel like you are in charge of them or being bossy, or you're trying to give them orders, even though what you're telling them is very constructive, or it will basically help them?
Okay, so normally, instead of telling them, I put it as a question.
Okay.
So I'm like, are these cables gonna stay here, or are you guys gonna cover them?
Okay.
And then they'll say, no, we're gonna take care of it. And I'm like, okay, cool. So because if you come and you say, no, these cables must not be there, then they're gonna say, but we are not done yet.
So communication as well is very important.
So you need to be tactful about it. So you just ask them, like, generally.
Is that what they teach you at school as well? Or it's something that...
Yeah, I think it's something that you learn on the job, because you sometimes learn with depending on the type of person that you're dealing with.
Okay.
Other people, you can tell them, "Guti, please remove these cables," and they'll be fine with it.
Yes.
But some people will just like turn. They'll turn and they'll be
not okay.
Yeah, they're not going to be happy about it. Okay. So it's just one of those things.
Okay. And I also want us to move on to the next thing that I want us to discuss, which is events budgets. Setting mali. Because mali is very important.
Very.
Especially with events.
Very.
Don't come here with your dream wedding. So, if I come to you, Zama, with 16,000 rand, and I say, Zama, please make things happen for me.
What does make things happen?
Make things happen. I want to do a wedding here at my home, at my house, 400 people with 16,000 rand. What does Zama do?
What do you mean? No. Let's talk about it. Morty, you want to do a wedding. Are you looking to do flowers only? Do you want furniture? do you want? Cutlery, crockery, decor, what do you want? I need to understand, we would see, more to 16,000, what is expected from me from that 16,000?
Okay, I get it. I don't know how much things cost. Yes. Let's say, for instance, we're talking to someone that is watching this channel now, that is like, oh, great, wedding budgets. How much should I budget for a wedding? Maybe, say, for 100 people, because I think 50 people, it's like we are forcing things because of obviously the COVID and stuff like that. Yes. But in general, I would like to have 150, 100 people. Maybe I don't have to go to a venue. I've got enough space at home, or my aunt has a beautiful garden. I can do an event there. How much must I have? I don't want something like Zaris. I just want something beautiful, something nice, something wedding like, not a kitchen party, something wedding like. Do you get what I mean? 400 people, how much must a person probably budget? So
I generally say the easiest way for a budget is for you to look at how many, so budget per head.
Okay.
So based on what you're looking for.
Okay.
It's always good as a person, even if you're not an event planner or whatever, just look around.
Okay.
If you see a pretty chair that you're like, I want this chair at my wedding, look at how much that chair that costs.
Okay.
So for instance, if you want a Tiffany chair, you can get it for like 25 and 30 rand a chair.
Okay.
However, if you want a butterfly chair, you need to be looking at about 150 rands per chair. So now you need to look at those things. So it's okay, if I'm going to be seating one person for 150 rand, just where they are sitting.
Okay.
They don't have a table yet. They don't have a plate. They don't have cutlery. There's no flowers. You need to look at it that way to say, okay, if these are the kinds of things that I want at my wedding, I need to look at just the things that you can look at individually. So if you decide that you want the pretty cutlery,
yes,
look at how much it costs to hire it out.
Okay.
And then you put together for one person just on that. And then over and above that, so you'll have your table, your plate, your whatever, all of those little things. And then over and above that, you need to realize that you still need a table. You need shelter. You need the flowers.
You need transportation.
You need to feed these people.
You need man hands.
You need to feed these people.
You need drinks.
You need to feed these people. So now you need to look at, if I go to a restaurant and I have a 3-course meal, I'm spending 400 rand. So
depending on what restaurant.
Yeah, well, depending on what restaurant you're at, but so over and above those Pelaangiti, what the restaurant you're at is going to also determine the type of
price,
food that you are having at your wedding as well.
Yes.
So then over and above the price of that little setup that you have, look at that. And then above that, add for the extras. That's when you can say, okay, I'm probably going to spend 500, 700 rand per head. And that's how you budget for your wedding. Because if I'm going to say to you, no, you have to have 100,000 rand for 100 people, it's not going to work. Because I don't know what you want.
Yes.
And 100,000 could work based on what you want, but it might not.
So let's make it very clear to our viewers and people in the industry that if you come to me with the budget and tell me this is for how many people, that's already a red flag. Not just on my side, but also on your side. Because if you're saying 100,000 for 100 people, which means on your side you've done calculations, but do you know how much things actually cost? And also there's still me that you need to pay as a wedding planner. There is transportation that people do not take in consideration. Yes. There is labor for the people that are going to set up and strike down the wedding. There is also entertainment, which I feel like, I did an event and the music didn't start playing until Miss Party had to shout and say, hey guys, I need you to start playing music.
Something.
Because it's one thing for you to say, no, my brother is a DJ. He will do the entertainment instead of getting a professional or an event DJ or an event sound guy. So I want us to make it very clear that when clients come to us, can they come seeking knowledge? Because some of us, went to school. Some of us obviously has 10 years experience, 9 years experience. But when you're coming to me, can you come to me and ask me instead of coming to me and tell me exactly what you want?
What normally happens is a lot of the times clients really don't know. You will find a client that says, okay, I've got 200,000 rand and I want a wedding. So I ask, what kind of wedding are you looking for? So I'm one person, I enjoy having my clients show me pictures. But I always tell them that the picture that you show me is not what you're going to get. I work based on, so for me, the pictures you show me is like a mood board. And I do the decor based on the type of vibe you're looking for. However, sometimes clients, it's not that they don't have the money. It's that they don't have the knowledge. So if they come to you, they show you this beautiful picture and they're like glass tint and this and that and that, and they say 100,000. I always just break it down to say, okay, you're looking for a glass tint that seats so many people. This glass tint is 120 on its own. No flooring, nothing else.
Just to set it up.
Just the tint is 120. It does not even include the transport to get it to wherever it needs to go.
Say that again.
So now, can we relook at your budget? Is the budget negotiable or is the tent negotiable? So for instance, are we just going to go with a normal marquee?
Okay.
Are we going to go with a garden wedding?
Okay.
So we try and speak to the clients and say, okay, this is what you want, but this is what these things cost. So let's try and work it out. So I prefer people who will say, okay, this is how much I have and it's not negotiable. What can I get with this? Then that makes it much easier, because then I can make suggestions based on what you want, to say, okay, this is how much you have and this is what you're working with. This is the type of wedding that you can get with this amount of money.
You know what, Zama? There's so much that I feel like we can talk about. Yes. We can discuss and share, but because obviously of time and the weather and everything, and you and your schedule and me and my schedule, I think just for now, just for today, we can just wrap it off.
Okay.
I just want you to give maybe 2 or 3 tips that you can give to someone that wants to be a wedding planner, someone that wants to get into the industry, someone that is watching you right now and is like, oh my God, she knows so much. What are the things that you can advise them, or tips that you can give them in terms of what should they look for in terms of getting into the industry?
Okay, so before you get into the industry, you need to know yourself. Are you a hard worker? Because guys, wedding planning is hard, especially events. There are days where we don't sleep. Literally, I'll probably finish around 2 and 5 a.m. I'm up again. Need to get the event done. So firstly, you need to be someone who works hard and not like complain about it, because unfortunately it is what it is. The event has to happen, of course. Secondly, you also need to be someone who's very organized.
Okay.
You need to be extremely organized, because at the end of the day, clients are giving you their money. They're trusting you to give them what they want. And when you don't give them what they want, they have paid you for it. That's how you can just you can either make it in the industry because of that or not. Okay. So you need to be very organized. You can't just decide that, oh my gosh, I forgot to order the bouquet.
Just
no,
Yeah.
you can't. We work with checklist after checklist after checklist after checklist after checklist, bruh. And time. You need to be very good with time management as well. And then I think the other thing is just having the passion for it. You have to be passionate about it. You have to love it because it's going to frustrate you. And you need to be able to work with people because people will frustrate you too. Especially if you want to do weddings. Brides are hard. Brides know what they want. Brides are hard to work with, and it's not always easy working with people. And sometimes it's not even the bride. Maybe it's the mother of the bride, the mother of the groom, the brother, the sister.
No.
Like, listen, you need to be a people's person and be able to manage different personalities, because you will find a family where the bride is the sweetest and you had your meeting with the bride and she's sweet, and then comes a few days after, just before the wedding, and then now comes the mother from somewhere else. And yeah, so it's hard. So you just need to have that thing where you can work with people, you're passionate about it, your time management is on point, you're organized, and you just a hard worker.
You have to have it all. You have to have it all.
Hard worker.
You have to have it all, guys. Thank you so much, Zama.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you so much. I think we're still gonna have more of these. We still need to chat a lot. But obviously today we had to just stick to what we decided to talk about.
Okay.
Thank you for coming.
It's a
So
pleasure.
I've got something for you. I'm a good host.
Yes, you are.
So I am just gonna give you one of my.
Oh my gosh!
It's a love rose bear. It's got about 300 artificial petals of rose.
Oh my gosh!
And it smells like a sweet. So I hope you enjoy it. Put it at your bedroom. Use it as a decor piece.
Yes, actually, I'm putting it in my bedroom. Okay.
Use it as a decor piece. It won't fade away. I know some of my clients would be like, no, Losi, use real flowers. But hey, this is also nice.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having
yeah,
me.
guys, that is it for today. Please go and follow Zama. Her event page is Zee_celebration. And you can also follow me. It is Losi Events Management. And yeah, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. I will see you on my next upload. Mwah!